Kelvin, if I could go back to Saturday, didn't get a chance to ask you, but the announcement they made after the game about you being inducted into the school's Hall of Honor, the highest athletic achievement you can get there at the school. What did that mean to you, or did they catch you by surprise?
Yes. Um, yeah, I mean, obviously, um, I hadn't thought about that. I'm trying to remember if I've been to. Is that the one where they wore the red blazers? Have you been to
Yes, I
one?
believe so. Yes,
That's the
yes,
one yeah. So
and it's always during football season, right before basketball season.
yeah, I think I've been to that once. I don't remember who has been honored, but I remember seeing Carl Lewis there. When I saw uh, Carl Lewis, and I knew I was in the right place because he would be in anybody's Hall of Honor. But no, it's great recognition for your program and the success we've had here um, at University of Houston, and you do good, hang around this profession long time. Um, you get a bunch of awards, and um, I know I've had a bunch of Coach of the Year awards over the years, and um, same thing with the Hall of Honor. I would say with the other one is, um, you know, it's it's a team sport, collective effort. Um, I get that I'm the head coach, and I do what I do, but you couldn't do it without a lot of people on your staff, but especially and more importantly, the players. But I recognize the honor that it is, though, Joseph, and very appreciative.
Thank you, Joseph. We'll go to Chris Baldwin with Paper City Houston. Chris, please go ahead.
Hey Calvin, good morning.
Morning.
What stands out about UCF's physicality? Out rebounding Texas Tech, committing only 6 turnovers in that game.
The thing that jumps out at me about UCF, and I've watched them this in 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there on a bunch of games, is they've got something they haven't had with Fulks and Stillwell. Those two guys are really good anchors. They have winning DNA. They make winning plays. They've got a difference maker in Riley Kugel. Um, could sign it. I think you guys may have to check on this, but I think he committed to Kansas. And I know Chris Johnson uh, he committed either Texas or Kansas, might have been both. So Johnny's always had talented players, but this group has really good winning DNA. Um, I don't ever focus on one stat to judge a team. Um, I pay attention to their DNA. Not every team has players that have that, and that usually rubs off on the other guys. But Johnny's done a great job putting his team together. Um, the Bowl kid was at Ole Miss when we scrimmaged them a few falls ago. Stillwell, I really like him. Um, Burks is kind of their X factor. He's a 6'9" wing that can post up smaller guards or wings and can really shoot. Kugel, you know, it's a walk-in, give you 20 kind of guy. But they haven't had Folks has got really good DNA. He's got a lot of winner in him, and the Cambridge kid, he's been at I know he's been at some other schools. He's had some bad luck with injuries, but Johnny's got a bunch of um, transfer guys, and he's hit on all of them. You don't always hit on those transfer guys. Johnny has. He's done a good job building his team. They got good players at every spot. They're athletic, they're tough, they're long, and they're difficult to play against.
Thank you, Chris. We'll go to Greg Bailey from KTRK TV. Greg, please go ahead.
Kelvin, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, just wondering about Emanuel Sharp as he closes in on this 3-point record. His confidence has always stood out. You've detailed for us the very difficult leg injury he went through. What about the way he's wired allows him to be so confident when he's out there shooting from distance?
Shooters have to have short memories. I've watched him develop over the 5 years he's been with us, and it's been, I enjoy coaching our kids because I get a chance to see their growth, not just as players though, but as boys becoming young men, to becoming a man. And I've always taken pride in developing that part of him as well. But Emanuel always had kind of a quiet maturity about him. Nobody influenced him. You couldn't, like, if you put Emanuel in kind of a negative environment or around shaky characters, that would never affect him. He is his own person. He beats to his own drum beat, and it's a good drum beat. Some kids are like that, and their drum beats all over the place. But Emanuel is very independent. He's an independent thinker. He handles. I thought early on in his career, he didn't handle his failures with maturity, and I talked with him about that. That failure is part of it. Whereas other people may want to focus on it, you can't, because you're inside the arena. You're the one that's doing the work, and that's all that matters. And he didn't want to let people down. He wanted to be a pleaser a little bit. But as he's grown on, the thing that I've appreciated, will remember Emanuel for though, is growing into Emanuel. He's Emanuel. He's not like anybody else in the way he thinks and the way he does things. He's for lack of a better term, he's very Emmanuelese. I let him get away with a few more things that I would let other guys, because I don't have the trust with them that I have with Emanuel. Emanuel knows when I'm getting on him and when I'm getting on him, but I'm not getting on him. I don't know if that makes sense. Sometimes I'll get on him about shot selection, but this is kind of an initial reaction that really doesn't mean a whole lot. He's learned how to decipher that, which means coach don't care if I shoot. He just wants me to mix and make in there occasionally. But there was a game this year. It was at Cincinnati, where I had to snatch him back. He was trying to do too much. One of my no-nos is if you're a guard and you get your shot blocked, or if you're on defense and you block a shot, those are two low IQ plays. Good players don't get jump shots blocked. That means it's a bad shot. And good players don't foul shooters, because you have plenty of space on either side to run through. So, but Emmanuel's a quick learner. I think he needed to be taught how to do certain things, but you don't have to stay. You don't have to stay on Emmanuel a lot. Sometimes I have to pull his chain a little bit, but I leave him alone most of the time. He's a great senior. He's been a great warrior in this group for a long time, and he's made himself into a tremendous defender. our team we're lucky to have Emanuel. I'm glad they chose to come to Houston. He's been a tremendous part of our success for a long time.
Thank you, Greg. We'll go to Chancellor Johnson from Big 12 Sports. Chancellor, please go ahead, sir.
Hey, good morning, Kelvin. How are you?
Good.
Good. That's a perfect segue in regards to growth and shot selection. With Kingston and Chris coming out of high school, I imagine they had plenty of offensive freedom. When you get to Houston, obviously there's an adjustment process. What can you share about what that's been like over the past few months to where we are now for them to carve out their offensive roles and they're creating their offensive freedom, and how they've earned that up to this point?
Well, with Kingston, obviously watching him in high school, um, the things I like about a kid, if I watch him play before he gets here, is the reason I'm recruiting him. I don't like what he's not doing. I like what it is he is doing. And when you have a kid like Kingston, you don't want to change him. You want to enhance and put him in better positions and get him to understand spacing and how to read drop coverage or where to go with the ball if they're trapping you out top. Um, but being able to just be a little bit more patient before you attack a gap. Those are things that they learn um, um, in the summer, in the fall. Then games start, and then it starts to make sense. That's why practice is important. But as you get closer to the games, sometimes it could become counterproductive because we're working on something that I need to see. I need to play against somebody that hasn't seen me play or knows my moves or knows how I play. Like you guys had no idea how good Kingston was. A lot of the other teams are the same way, especially the teams he saw early. Everybody knows now. But when he got here in June, um, it was clear. Our first day of practice was June 3rd. It was clear on June 3rd that he was our best player um, that day. He played better than anybody. Now Milos was out. JoJo was out. We kind of had a skeleton crew early. Isaiah was out. Khalifa was out. Milos was out. JoJo was out. Pretty much first summer session. Milos came back second summer session. But Kingston was clearly the best player on the floor the first day and was throughout the summer. But when we were recruiting Kingston, I had in the back of my mind that he was probably going to start. Um, um, it was just how we were going to work. How was I going to make it fit? And that's not something you do until you put him out there and see who's going to go where and how is it going to fit. So with Chris was um, pretty good at a bunch of things, really good at nothing. I couldn't find one thing that I said he's really good at. It's like, watching him shoot, pretty good, but not good. Watching him pass, no. Inconsistent rebounder. Typical 6'10" that wanted to be a guard. Jarris was the same way. So we had to remake Chris into a player that could do one or two things really good. And when Chris got here, he could make a three but couldn't shoot. Just because you can make a shot doesn't mean you're a good shooter. Blind squirrel finds an acorn occasionally. But I give a lot of credit to Kellen. Kellen does a great job of helping define what these kids are. And when I have my coaches meetings, I said, "Here's what I want to see from him. Let's develop him in this role, and then we don't deviate. We just stay with it, stay with it, stay with it." because confidence will come from something, and that allow them to be good at something else because they're confident. So it's been a longer process with Chris and Kingston because Chris was further behind uh, in the areas that we need for him to be good at. Chris was a 5. He wasn't a 4. He's never played the 4. Watching him on defense against um, Tennessee was like watching somebody try to catch 8 rabbits at the same time. You don't catch none. And then you look at him now, you just see how much he's improved. And he continues to improve. But Chris has a really high ceiling above him. So uh, uh, regardless of where he is next year, he's going to get a lot better. He's getting better. You can just see his confidence growing now. Um, and it's not just in one area. It's his defense is better. He knows where to go better. He didn't have great instinct. And I think the toughest thing to teach kids is not skill, it's feel. It's feel for the game, instinct for the game. Kids that have no feel are really good at being at the wrong place at the wrong time. Kids that have really good feel, have good instincts, high basketball IQ, are really good at being in the right place at the right time. So Chris has really developed in those areas, and he still has a long way to go. But I've been thrilled with his attitude. He shows up every day with the right attitude. Kingston shows up with the right attitude. Um, Isaiah shows up with the right attitude. All 3 of those guys, as they continue their careers, all 3 are going to be really good players.
We'll go back to Joseph Duarte, please. Joseph, go ahead.
Kelvin, this ties into how well UCF has played this year, and I'm just curious when you factor in what Houston's done in its years in the league, and then going out and the expansion of Arizona, BYU. What does it say about the Big 12 that some people can debate, who's an expansion target or were the expansion target, but the schools that were added on the basketball side have really in these 3 years kind of risen to the cream of the crop, so to speak.
I don't understand your question.
Well, just the in the 3 years since Houston's been in the league, and then the addition of the Pac-12 schools, a lot of those schools have been at the top of the league and contended. It just shows how those
Okay.
expansion teams have fared and done well.
Well, when I think of expansion teams, um, I think of Tampa Bay. It used to be the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. That
They
was
were, yes.
um, um, let's see, who's been some other. I remember going to see Frank Howard when he played for the Washington Senators in Washington. Um, my dad was a big baseball fan, so I always think of expansion teams. I don't really think of expansion teams like that when I think of teams coming in. We weren't an expansion team.
Conference realignment.
Yeah, we were going to the Sweet 16 and the Elite Eight and Final Four before we got to the Big 12. And we weren't in somebody else's tournament. We're in the same tournament they were in. So I never understood that. Um, Arizona, Arizona, uh, uh, um, I thought we could make the Big 12 better when we got here. I heard what everybody else was saying. I didn't agree with it, but I heard what they were saying. Same thing with Arizona. Arizona came in and made this league better because they were better than most of the league. Arizona didn't need the Big 12 to be a great program. They're a great program before they ever came here. The Big 12 benefited from having Arizona. Um, and then when you look at BYU and Utah, Colorado, Arizona State, those programs have been well established. Um, you know, the Big 12 didn't make us good. We were good before we got here. What we did was make the Big 12 better. Um, So when you look at all when I got into Big 12, it wasn't the Big 12, it was the Big 8. You know, I remember they added 4 schools: Texas A&M, Texas, Baylor, and Texas Tech. That was it. There wasn't no TCU. It was just those 4 schools. But those 4 schools came in and made the Big 8 better because they were already established. Just because you go to a new conference, I never bought into the notion that you had to prove yourself. We'd already proven ourselves. Um, just like Texas Tech and Baylor and Texas and A&M had proven themselves in the Southwest Conference when they got to the Big 12. Well, all of these schools that brought in, they're not expansion teams. There's nobody ever thought that way unless you've never competed in sports or unless you're insecure and think we can never be as good as these other teams because look who they are. I think some people think that way, but we never did.
Thank you, Joseph. We'll go to Alejandro Compion from the Cougar Sports. Alejandro, please go ahead, sir.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
In the past, I think you've talked about JoJo being one of the best people or players, one of the nicest people or players that you know. And I was just wondering if you could add more to that and if there are any certain moments where that character of his really shines through.
Yeah, both. He's one of the greatest human beings and one of the um, greatest, nicest, best teammates. You know, a great team at the end of the day, from my lens, and my lens is my lens. I look at things the way I look at them. The way I look at a basketball team, the first thing you have to be before you're really good is you got to be a good teammate. Here's when you know you got a great team, that you're so secure in what you do and what you bring to the team that allows you to be excited and to feel really, really good about your teammates' accomplishments. And I don't think I've ever had anyone better at that than JoJo. Uh, uh, the other night against TCU is a good example, Alejandro. JoJo, everybody likes to make fun and poke, and you know it's just what people do now. You know, everybody makes fun of JoJo because of his fouls and call him names and all this stuff. That's fine. We're used to that. But let me tell you what he did. So he picks up the dumb fouls, and they were dumb fouls, just like I make a lot of dumb coaching decisions, and that's what they are. They're just dumb coaching decisions. And I try as hard as I can not to repeat them, but sometimes I just do boneheaded things. JoJo made a couple bad fouls, but he's sitting on the bench, right? I wish I could have had a tape recorder and allowed people to listen to him and how apologetic he was and how encouraging and how he coached each member of all his teammates on the bench. If he knew I was coming down to get somebody, it's like he was giving him last minute instructions before he went out. Then somebody would come out of the game. JoJo would put his arm around him and told him they did good, and you know, just so selfless, such a great teammate, such a great kid. Um, so JoJo is one of one. Um, um, you know, he's not perfect, never going to be perfect. Um, but I could never ask for a better team member and a better teammate than JoJo Tugler. He is unbelievably selfless. He gets excited about his teammates' success. We're in film this morning at 8 o'clock. We're watching film because yesterday was a day off, and I don't like to watch. I like to flush the previous game as quickly as I can. So when they come in for practice today, we can focus solely on UCF. But Joe has found his voice. He was he was when he first got here as a freshman, he didn't say nothing. I mean, he's nothing. Yes, sir, no, sir. And that's about it. Then last year, Joe was starter. He started talking a little more, but never in a film session. Never in a film session. That's kind of my domain. So this year I've noticed that JoJo's starting to talk in film sessions. He sees things that's getting ready to occur and that his teammate should have looked for prior to it happening. And just out of nowhere, JoJo starts talking. You know what? I love it. I just love it. Because he says it better than I could, probably. They probably understand it better from Joe than they would from me anyway. But when JoJo speaks, everybody listens. Um, but this morning, he was coaching Khalifa on one of our monsters that he was late for. And Joe explained him exactly in the perfect way. He explained why he had to get there earlier, because had he got there earlier, he would have taken this pass away. And if they couldn't make the pass to this guy, then they couldn't swing it to the other guy for a three. And you just got to get there earlier, Khalifa. Um, I just melted. I thought that was the greatest thing. That is so awesome because now you get your teams to where you want every team to be, player led. Teams are so much better when they're player led rather than coach led. And JoJo, in that moment this morning, was leading. And that's when, as a coach, you just shut your mouth, you just back away and let them talk to each other. And then there was there was two or three situations where JoJo would speak up. There's now, Emanuel speaks up, Ramon will speak up. And when it gets like that, you just kind of back up. It's their team. They're improving through their communication with each other. And there's a lot of space in between the lines that are now starting to get filled in February, which is where you want to be as you head into some really, really tough games this month. November couldn't happen. November's November. December is December. January is January. We're all kind of riding the waves then, peaks and valleys. But the ability for whether it's Justin Gorham or Fabian, Kyler, Jamal, Marcus, Bryson Gresham, Dejan, Galen. I mean, I can go back. I've had 12 teams. This is my 12th team. But every team's been good in its own way. And it was because they were player-led teams.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We'll go back to Chris Baldwin, please. Go ahead, Chris.
Kelvin, what have you seen from Isaiah and his desire to improve? And Anthony Goldwire was saying he comes in early a lot of mornings to work with him and look at stuff.
Yeah. Well, Isaiah, I completely understand what goes behind the scenes that nobody sees with his injury, his rehab, holding him out. There's a reason why JoJo's starting to play better now versus a month ago. I can't tell you how impactful June, July, August, September are to get ready for practice in October. When you don't have those months to build a foundation and confidence. You get your confidence from your preparation. That's why I tell our kids every year, I've had a team all these years, never ever let another man take your confidence. Nobody can take your confidence. That's yours. Don't let anybody take that. But you build it up through your preparation. You work so hard and you prepare so much that a bad day is not going to bother you. Constructive criticism is not going to bother you. I got this. I'm there. We have four guys that didn't have any of that. JoJo had surgery the same week um, that he played against Florida in the national championship game. By the way, he only played 16 minutes in that game, 16:50 maybe. But JoJo, Khalifa, Isaiah, seemed like I'm missing one. But we had so many guys out. But the guys that you can tell the guys that had great summers and great falls that led to winters, they played good right away, like Kingston. Kingston had a great summer. He had a great fall. He didn't miss anything. Isaiah wasn't there for anything. That's why there is no disappointment for us and any of our kids. That's for people that don't know what they don't know. But Isaiah is on a good track, Chris. He's a great kid. He has a tremendous work ethic. Um, and he wants to be good. He's willing to put in the work. He's a little inconsistent, but I understand that. But this is a good time right now for him to, uh, hit mash his gas down and let's get going because he's good enough.
Thank you. We'll go back to Chancellor Johnson, please. Then I got time for one more question. Chancellor, go ahead.
Hey, Kelvin, because there's so many dynamic and great point guards in this conference, sometimes folks can be an afterthought in some of those conversations. Just for you, when you watch him and his impact, what stands out to you?
About who?
Themis Folks from UCF.
Oh, folks. I thought you said folks, as in folks.
Yeah.
Not folks as in UCF. Yeah, I mentioned his DNA a while ago. I hadn't really watched UCF much, just like I'm sure they hadn't seen us much either. You always focus on the team ahead of you. You don't. I just don't watch a lot of these teams play really until we play them. But I was wondering, why is UCF so good? What is it about them? I knew Kugel. He was a kid that when he went in the portal last year, he was one of the best guards in the nation. Um, when I saw UCF got him, I said, well, Johnny's got him a star. That kid's really good. But then as we were starting to prepare, I peeped at some of their film Saturday night for the first time. And that was the first time I really watched Folks. And I can see why. He's a winner. He controls things. He's got confidence. He's in control. He gets them organized. He gets the ball to the right people. He needs a scoring score. Kid had what did he have against Arizona? 30, right?
Yeah, 30. Yep.
Not everybody can do that, you know. But once I saw him, I saw why they were good. He starts when you got a good point guard, you can get things organized behind them. When you don't have that position, um, sometimes those other guys' greatest strengths are hidden because they don't have anybody to bring them out. That's what a great point guard will do. And folks has been awesome with that.
Thank you, Chancellor. Our last question today, we'll go to back to Joseph, please. Go ahead, Joseph.
Kelvin, on defense the other day or the other game, you guys had several forced shot clock violation on excuse me, I'm drawing a blank now on Cincinnati. On Cincinnati. When you chart turnovers, are there any that carry more weight to you, or when you have shot clock violations, does that show you something in terms of growth or where the defense is when they're making it tough for teams to get shots off?
Yeah. Well, like to me, the worst play you can make in basketball is taking a selfish bad shot or a live ball turnover. Those are no-nos. Defensively, it used to be taking a charge, but they've changed the rules so much that you can't. But one of the reasons why we get so many um, shot clock violations is one, we're playing the entire possession with our minds and our feet. You know, like Ramon closed out against might have been Celestine. And the first thing he did was stick his hands out because he knew if he didn't shoot, he was going to drive. And so sticking your hands out is a way of saying, I don't think I can guard you, so I'm going to push you real quick so hope the referee doesn't see it. And if they're in 1-and-1, you gave up 2 points. You know, and we really worked hard to show your hands in that situation. But usually not playing defense for 30 seconds because we don't really press. So we allow you to bring the ball across the timeline, and then we allow you to advance the ball up into your forecourt. And then from there, we start guarding. So a lot of nights it's 25 seconds, 26, 24, somewhere in there. Then it's, can you be disciplined enough to execute as the ball is changing? If it goes into pick and roll, 5 people guard the ball. If it goes into the post, 5 people are guarding the ball. But everybody has different responsibilities. But it takes a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of failure to get to that point. And our kids are still working to get better at that. You know, we've had some poor games in those areas, and we've had some good games, and now you're just looking for consistency.